Welcome to Adi Tales, the Bounty Hunter's Tale, Part 2. My name is TheAdipose, and I'm a bounty hunter. And I've been here on Pandora with my partner Frubey, trying to find out about the legend of the vault. But since we got here, I've been repeatedly contacted by a mysterious voice and face that only I can see and hear. Am I going mad, or is this for real? But what I do know is, since arriving here, I've tried to integrate myself with members of the community by knocking out the local bandit leaders, such as Sledge here. And while doing so, I discovered what appears to be part of the key to the vault. There's more than one part though, so we had to investigate further. And to find the next piece, we went to see a man called Crazy Earl, who'll send us on all kinds of crazy missions, including trying to defeat these little spider ants on the lawn that caused us all kinds of difficulty. However, when we got back, it turned out that Crazy Earl didn't have the key after all. It had been stolen from him by a bandit leader named Krom. We went over to try and defeat Krom, but discovered him and his minions far too strong. So we had to go away, find some other missions, and level up. So we went to our mission list to have a look to see what we could do to level up to get past Krom, or get to Krom. We looked for the missions that had the highest XP reward, the 8,000 XP, the 6,000 XP, and ignored the lower ones. First one was to check on our old friend TK Baha. This was a lovely gentleman we met when we first arrived in Pandora, and discovered to our horror that he had been killed. We didn't know why, we didn't know who, but we hope to find out so we can avenge our friend's death. Now you might be thinking, well, why not simply go for every single mission and play them all as you're going through? The answer is that we didn't want to over-level, we didn't want to get too strong. We've been to Pandora before, and we've discovered that if you end up being a level than the enemies that you're facing, the game can actually get, to be blunt, too easy. So we're trying to do the minimum amount of missions we can to keep it a challenge at every step of the way. So unfortunately you will see me needing second winding and reviving at certain points, but that's deliberate because we want it to be a challenge. And the next mission we did to level up to go and defeat Krom was trying to find a mysterious artifact which led us to this kind of looks like a almost like a little oil rig in the middle of the desert, full of bandits, full of bruises. We are slightly higher level than these guys, so we should be able to take them down without too much of a problem. And then it turned out it wasn't an oil rig at all, but a mysterious entrance going underground. Pandora has some absolutely fantastic scenery. We've seen so far deserts, we've seen kind of like trash mountains, we've seen large cities, small little outposts, and now we've seen caves with some quite stunning little crystals. We are in the right place for the artifact. Do keep an eye on your minimap if you ever travel to Pandora. You can bring it up by holding down tab or your map key, and it'll show you how close you are to your destinations and which direction to go. And of course you can see it in the compass along the bottom of your screens as well. You'll also discover in your journey to Pandora that when you get into a new area such as this, if you haven't been able to get here before, the weapons machines will sell you items which are more valuable than the weapons machines that you've seen before. So do always check new machines. We didn't on this occasion, but we did check them on the way out. But look at these mysterious statues. These aren't bandits and these aren't spider ants. These are a whole different kind of a creature, perhaps not even of this world, which might indicate that the vault that we are seeking isn't either. And they're moving. Looks like we've got company, and they don't look friendly. Now what are these? Perhaps aliens? Perhaps guardians of the vault? Who knows? But they're pretty scary and they're pretty fast moving. But that's what we came here for, the level up. To keep us getting closer to our goal of being able to defeat Krom. I think we set ourselves a goal of 24 or 25 before we went back to see Krom, so that gets us pretty close to our goal. These guardian creatures we've been facing are the opposite of the other creatures that you might face on Pandora, in that rather than having weak shields and high health, they have low health and strong shields, but that does mean that they are very susceptible to electric weapons which deplete the shields almost instantly. And there's another load of XP farmed and the element found, so we can head back towards the surface, and it is time to see if we can take out Krom now. In this video diary, I'm not going to show you the battle to Krom, since that was relatively simple once we had that extra bit of level and weaponry. But the battle with Krom was no easy feat at all, because he has a very large and very deadly turret, and he is not a nice man. Indeed. We arrived in Krom's backyard, only to discover that we are in fact at the bottom of a very large canyon, and he is right at the top, and almost wherever we stand we are being consistently pelted by his huge turret. We can get cover from it, but it's few and far between, but it looks like we're going to have to make our way up to him before we can get some decent shots on him. We did try a few little sniper shots, but it weren't doing enough damage, so we need to get in closer where we can by taking down these psychos and other bandits and so on and so forth. We got up a few layers and discovered that we could get damage off him, but we're still taking huge amounts of rocket damage. Watch my health and my shield. They go down pretty significantly while targeting him, so we decided we need to get closer still before we would take him out. And being a bounty hunter and a vault hunter now, never let yourself miss an opportunity to check out the local guns and the local weapons, because even if you can't use it, you can sell it. You'll also find as you go through Pandora you need to kind of change your values repeatedly about what is a good price and what isn't. At the beginning of the game, if it's worth 200, that's brilliant, take it. But once you get a bit further on, you'll be looking at 500, 1,000, and so on and so forth. Now we got close enough to Krom here to have a good shot at him, and we're able to sneak our shots through that little kind of letterbox slot he's got here. One of the things I've discovered when putting together my assault rifles is that the accuracy stat is possibly the most important, because it's no matter if you're doing like 100 damage or 150 damage, but the accuracy is low, then most of those bullets will be missing, and really the damage is irrelevant if you're not hitting the target. So although this gun actually has less damage than many of my other guns, it has a very high accuracy, and that means that almost every shot is hitting. And with that, Krom goes down, and here is our next piece of the vault key. Krom was nice enough to leave us his gun and a bit of gold, and most importantly, the vault.
Or did you? I'm always watching you, friend. Be careful. Others are starting to see their own opportunity.
She is simultaneously alluring and yet disturbing. Is she trying to help us? Is she trying to trick us? I don't really know, but she's leading us in the right way so far. Here is the beloved Krom. Can't say I will miss him. Now we very quickly made our progress across Pandora. We battled our way through a huge trash city, like I mentioned earlier. We had to rescue a place called Janice Town that became Taylor Town, and then ended up having to kill both Janice and Taylor. It was very confusing, but we did it, and they then allowed us to come here to collect our next piece of the vault, the piece of the vault key, where we discovered what looked like a Rakk Hive, but it turned out to be an alive, breathing, moving, shouting, yelling Rakk Hive. It is seriously scary, seriously big, and has a seriously high health. But it's standing between us and the vault key, so we gotta take it down. Again, that high accuracy stat on the gun is coming into play. I felt that I was missing quite a lot during this video diary, so after taking down the Rakk Hive and Krom, I investigated my mouse settings, and I found some useful videos on YouTube and on forums, the Gearbox forums, that suggested you can improve it by changing some settings in your custom INI file, and also by turning the mouse sensitivity down as far as possible, and maybe even moving the mouse DPI up to compensate. I did that, and I found my accuracy improved a huge amount, but I will expand more upon that in my next video diary. The Rakk Hive, the eyes are the critical spots, but after a few shots they stop becoming vulnerable to criticals, so you've got to keep changing the eye that you're aiming for. He is a truly beautiful monster with a face that seems strangely familiar. Not only the Rakk Hive to deal with, but the Rakks themselves. Luckily, Rakks go down only a few shots, but the difficulty is seeing them coming in time. Rakk Hive is going down. Wow, he is a huge, huge beast. My shields and health are getting low, so let's do what all good bounty hunters do and lay it. I probably should have stayed under cover, but if I can get behind him, probably Frubey can take him out from his sniper position. Although unfortunately it appears that the Rakk Hive has turned around, giving Frubey the opportunity to shoot in the butt. This could be the end for me. But what a way to stand up. Down goes the Rakk Hive. Up comes the Adipose with a level up as well. Now, possibly one of the biggest gross out shots I've seen yet in Borderlands is the shot of the insides of the Rakk Hive, which, despite the creature being dead, still seem to be moving. Beautiful. Now, we haven't yet found the vault key. We were expecting it to be with the creature, but it's not. So after a bit more investigation, we discovered this kind of set of caves towards the back of where the Rakk Hive lived, and in there we did indeed discover our third part of the vault key, which of course gives us 3 in total. We're still not sure whether this is enough to open the vault, and of course we're still not sure where the vault is, but following the mysterious voice, we hope we will find out sooner rather than later. So what next for the bounty hunters? We don't know, but we have the mysterious voice guiding us, and so we are sure that we are getting ever closer to the vault. Join us next time on the Adi Tales, The Bounty Hunter's Tale, Part 3. Goodbye.